Welcome to Hannity. We begin tonight with a Fox News alert. We're now tracking multiple major breaking stories, including an absolute bombshell development from the Department of Justice. Fox News now reporting that the Durham bar investigation into the origins of the Russia witch hunt is expanding. Fox is reporting at this hour, quote, Mr. Durham has expanded his investigation and is adding agents, resources, according to multiple senior administration officials. The timeline now has grown from the beginning of the probe through the election and now includes a post-election timeline through the spring of 2017, up until when Robert Mueller was named the special counsel. And as we have reported on this show, Durham and Barr have spoken with multiple officials from the UK, Australia, even traveled to Italy, all in an effort to determine if the most powerful tools of intelligence were used against our own citizens for the purpose of illegally spying on American citizens, of course, to circumvent American laws and constitutional protections. By the way, that would be like FISA abuse, premeditated fraud. I hear one of the saddest things from my sources tonight, oh, they're worried if they can get a conviction in D.C. That shouldn't matter, should it? The law is the law. Was it verified or not verified? Now, we'll have answers to a lot of these questions coming. Did officials circumvent U.S. law, outsource surveillance in the other sense on Americans to allied spied agencies? In other words, you do this for us, and then this way we're innocent. In the Trump campaign, were they targeted by our own government agencies to bolster Hillary Clinton and hurt Donald Trump? Why was Mueller appointed in the first place? And according to another breaking Fox News report, tonight Mueller was in fact pursuing the open FBI director job when he met with Donald Trump in 2017, as the president's been saying. He didn't get that position, and just a short time later, he was investigating the president who passed him over for a job. That would raise serious conflict of interest concerns, not to mention his close relationship with the man that Trump fired, Mr. Super Patriot, Jim Comey. And by the way, what will the Horowitz investigation uncover about the Super Patriot himself and McCabe and Strzok and many others who willfully committed fraud against the FISA court? Now, imagine if any of you committed a premeditated fraud on a court and you signed a document, an application for a warrant, take away the rights of an American citizen, backdoor into the Trump campaign so you could spy on his campaign and later his transition team and then later the presidency. Let's play this game at home. Do you think you would get away with any of that? Says verified. You know you didn't verify it. That's premeditated fraud on the court. And then when you know that you lied to the court, you're supposed to go back and tell them. I just have a funny feeling if it happened to anybody in this audience, you'd have a pre-dawn raid like Manafort and Roger Stone. And I've been saying this for a while, but what we witnessed in 2016 from our government, the biggest abuse of power corruption scandal in our history. Now, the truth is going to come out. The big question I have tonight, will they hold their own accountable? I have sources telling me tonight they might be afraid to do that. And with a full report on all of this is our very own Catherine Herridge tonight. Catherine.
Thank you, Sean, and good evening. A senior administration official confirms to Fox News that the investigation into the genesis of the 2016 FBI Russia collusion case is expanding based on the findings of U.S. Attorney John Durham. Appointed by Attorney General William Barr in May, the investigation now has global reach, with Durham recently traveling to Britain and Italy to pursue surveillance leads, as well as working with Australian authorities. The investigation also adding more agents, more resources, for an expanded timeline, which now stretches from the spring of 2016 to May 2017, when the president fired FBI Director James Comey and then Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein appointed special counsel Robert Mueller. Based on my 2 decades covering intelligence and law enforcement, the expanded Durham probe indicates that he has found evidence that likely points to criminal wrongdoing. By reputation, Durham is not a prosecutor to ask for more help if there is simply no there. Separately, administration officials tell Fox News there is new scrutiny of the Mueller appointment. Coordination between Rosenstein and Mueller in the days before the announcement, as well as allegations Rosenstein offered to wear a wire and secretly record the president, which he has publicly denied. Multiple administration officials tell Fox News that when Mueller met with the president on May 16, 2017, he was indeed pursuing the post left open by the firing of Comey a week earlier. And they say newly released records back up the White House account. During his congressional testimony on the Russia probe, Mueller said he was not applying for a second term as FBI director. He said he was there to offer the president input on the required skills, Sean.
All right, Catherine Herridge in Washington tonight, thank you. Also tonight, we're no longer going to refer to this ongoing political witch hunt. The latest witch hunt on Capitol Hill as any type of real impeachment inquiry. It is not. This is just the latest attempted coup of a duly elected president by we the people over misconduct that does not exist yet again. Let us be clear. They never accepted the 2016 election results. They never accepted 4 separate investigations. No Russia collusion. That instead was a coup attempt. So now they went from one fishing expedition to another fishing expedition. Russia, Russia, Russia. That coup attempt. Then it was the tax return coup attempt. Then it was the stormy coup attempt. Now it's the Ukraine coup attempt. That's all this is. They could not accept the will of the people. Insane, obsessive, compulsive, psychotic witch hunts rooted in rage and a lack of connection to reality that they lost. Same goal. Let's impeach him. Oh, we have a lot of ways we can impeach him, Nancy Pelosi says. The left, they've been plotting impeachment of this president from the very beginning, the moment he was elected. We'll remind you.
If he takes the risk of going to trial and he's convicted, that could be seen as an impeachable offense.
I don't see how that wouldn't be an impeachable offense.
An official impeachment inquiry of
impeachment inquiry.
Impeachment
of the House impeachment.
Impeachment inquiry.
Of impeachment.
Article of impeachment.
Of impeachment.
He doesn't understand the gravity of the impeachment.
Impeachment war.
The impeachment.
Impeachment.
New developments on the impeachment inquiry.
Impeachment. An impeachable.
Impeachable of impeachment.
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 Impeachment will be on the Democrats' agenda.
Impeachment.
We're introducing articles of impeachment.
Impeachment?
Impeachment.
We're going to go in there. We're going to impeach them. Impeach this president.
The I word, impeachment.
The I word, impeachment.
The I word, impeachment.
The I word.
The I word and impeachment.
Let's take a look at the process of impeachment. Impeachment, 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 to impeach or impeachment. Impeachment, he would have been impeached. All of it bringing impeachment back to the forefront.
All of that may be impeachable.
That's an impeachable offense.
Is that an impeachable offense?
Is that an impeachable offense to you?
He's much more vulnerable to impeachment.
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 Impeachable.
Impeachment.
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 Articles of impeachment.
There should be an impeachment inquiry opened.
There they are talking impeachment. Started 2 days after the president's election. The hysteria that we see over Ukraine, that's just the latest coup attempt, the latest chapter in what has been 3 long years of lies, conspiracy theories to take down a president, well, that they never want elected in the first place and did everything they could do to prevent him from winning. Also breaking moments ago, White House counsel has issued a letter to House Democrats formally announcing the Trump administration will not cooperate with the unconstitutional, invalid, baseless inquiry because of 3 distinct issues. First, the inquiry is constitutionally invalid, violates basic due process rights and separation of powers. There has been no vote to authorize this witch hunt inquiry, and that means no due process, no ability for the president's lawyers to cross-examine witnesses, no ability of the president's lawyer to call witnesses, no ability to enter evidence into the record. Instead, all we got was a press conference from, yes, Speaker in name only, Nancy Pelosi and the cowardly shifty ship. Now, this is unprecedented and it's unconstitutional. The letter also goes on to state, quote, the invalid impeachment inquiry plainly seeks to reverse the election of 2016 and to influence the election of 2020. And according to the White House counsel, the effort to impeach President Trump without regard to any evidence of his actions in office is a naked political strategy that began the day he was inaugurated and perhaps before. I would argue before. Impeachment is never to be used as a political weapon, only as a check against treason, bribery, high crimes, misdemeanors. And that brings us to the third issue that's raised by the White House counsel, quote, there is no legitimate basis for your impeachment inquiry. Instead, the committee's actions, they raise serious concerns. That would be like the cowardly shift making up something in a transcript that didn't exist, or they announced the impeachment hearing, say, oh, we got a variety of options if there's no quid pro quo there. Democrats claim the inquiry is about a so-called whistleblower, non-whistleblower account of a phone call between President Trump and the president of Ukraine. Well, the inquiry was announced before Democrats even saw the transcript of the call, or did they? What did Schiff know, and when did he know it? He now, as the lead investigator and running this committee, he would be a material fact witness in this case, wouldn't he? That would then cause him to have to recuse himself. By the way, it was a perfectly appropriate conversation with the president. We have the transcript. No need for whistleblowers. And the government of Ukraine has said the call was totally appropriate. The U.S. Department of Justice has said the call was appropriate. The U.S. ambassador to the European Union said the president did nothing wrong. The special envoy to Ukraine, Kurt Volker, testified under oath behind closed doors. No quid pro quo, no misconduct, no nothing. And let's not forget, the transcript has been released for everybody to see. We don't need a whistleblower's account and their feelings and their political bent on any of this. Here's what Congressman Lee Zeldin had to say about this very issue. That was earlier today. Let's take a look.
Maybe you should ask what was said inside of Volker's deposition during his transcribed interview with regards to Adam Schiff's fairy tale quid pro quo charge that aid from the United States to Ukraine was being linked to an investigation into the Bidens. Why don't you ask, what did Ambassador Volker say about that? That's a great question. I'm glad that you asked that question. And I'll tell you the reason why that question was so important for you to ask is for many things, because he was in this room for several hours. And during several hours of testimony, he talked about how President Zelensky had no idea that there was a hold on aid at the time of the July 25th call. Ambassador Volker testified about how the readouts of the phone call that was made to him, that there was nothing in the readouts about there being a hold on U.S. aid or a quid pro quo. And by the way, you know what else Ambassador Volker testified to? This entire time, the aid was getting released. It was going to get released. And guess what happened? The aid got released. And you know what didn't have to happen? There was no new investigation that had to get created. This whole thing is a fairy tale. Adam Schiff is misleading you, and you're playing along with it. When Adam Schiff said, for example, that President Trump was asking President Zelensky to manufacture dirt on the Bidens, you know what Ambassador Volker testified to? That was absolutely untrue.
And for weeks, the cowardly, lying Adam Schiff, well, he wanted you to believe President Trump threatened to withhold U.S. aid to Ukraine if it didn't investigate sleepy, creepy, crazy Uncle Joe 30330 and his son's shady Ukrainian business deals. And for weeks, Schiff stenographers, the media mob, breathlessly reporting about Trump, Ukraine, quid pro quo. And yet again, it was one big giant hoax, another lie, another conspiracy theory. 3 long years, one witch hunt after another. One coup attempt after another. Tonight, we have brand new evidence proving beyond any shadow of a doubt the left's hysteria is once again built on another bed of lies. Investigative reporter John Solomon has acquired documentation showing that a new investigation was opened by the country's prosecutor general 4 months before the phone call with our president and the Ukrainian president Zelensky under Ukraine's prior president. And that's not all. John Solomon reporting also tonight one focal point of the investigation was whether any of the $3.4 million in proceeds that Burisma Holdings paid to Hunter Biden's firm between 2014 and 2016 came from illicit sources. This happened months before the phone call in question, which is, by the way, huge, but there's even more. We have brand new details about the whistleblower. Byron York reporting tonight. He or she had a professional tie to a 2020 Democratic candidate. That means he or she worked with or for one of the Democrats that is running against Trump. That'd be a conflict of interest, too, especially when they're giving hearsay evidence in the first place. Let's recap. Whistleblower, registered Democrat, clear political bias, professional relationship with one of the 2020 Democrats who want to beat Trump. His complaint based on hearsay, not firsthand knowledge, and also media reports. Doesn't even matter what his complaint claimed, because we know now through the transcript what was said and what wasn't said, don't we? And by the way, the call in question shows no quid pro quo, nothing. No funds were withheld from Ukraine. Ukrainian officials didn't even know the president was considering delaying aid at the time of the call. And they didn't know till a month later. And 2 top diplomats in Europe said the president did nothing wrong. But then you got the cowardly Adam Schiff, a known congenital liar. Then you got Nancy Pelosi, another liar who has lost all control over her party in the House. They want to boot a duly elected president from office for nothing. What? A coup. And an attempt that every Democrat must go on record about. And these so-called, by the way, these so-called moderates, in other words, the Democrats that live in districts that Donald Trump won in 2016, they don't speak out against this unconstitutional attempted coup and witch hunt. They would be complicit in this, what is an illegal attempt to override the will of the American voter. Now, there is real corruption and government abuse of power and a quid pro quo we actually have on tape. And that would be Joe 30330 and the country of Ukraine, because as the media mob tries to ignore that brewing scandal, well, Senator Lindsey Graham, he has now invited the former New York City Mayor Rudy Giuliani to testify before Congress about his lengthy investigation. And don't forget, we learned from Politico. What do we learn? Oh, yeah, Ukraine was helping Hillary, and they were involved in election interference in 2016. Yeah, and Joe, well, he shook down Ukraine and said, you got 6 hours. You fire that prosecutor, or I'm taking my $1 billion, our $1 billion, American people's $1 billion, and I'm going home. You're not going to get it. And holy, wow, they fired him, and he bragged about it.